Everyone's heard of vibe coding by now. Andrej Karpathy coined the term back in February 2025. This idea of building software by just talking to AI, describing what you want, letting the AI handle the implementation details. And the discourse around it has been loud. Some people say it's democratizing software development. Others say it produces garbage code. There's a lot of heat, not a lot of light going on here. But here's what I've noticed nobody talking about. Same thing that happened at software development is about to happen to strategy consulting. I call it vibe strategy. And if you're running a small company or you're a consultant or maybe just someone who's been told that strategic thinking is something you just have to pay McKinsey $300,000 to do, I think what I'm about to share might change how you approach your problems. So let me give you a quick history because it sets up why vibe strategy matters today. In February of 2025, Andrej Karpathy, co-founder of OpenAI, former AI lead at Tesla, posted his now famous tweet describing vibe coding as fully giving in to the vibes, embracing exponentials, and forgetting that the code even exists. Within a month, it was on Merriam-Webster. By the end of 2025, it was in College Dictionary Word of the Year. Now, here's where I want to pump the brakes on the hype for a second. There's this tendency to treat technology transitions as a moment. Like one day we woke up and everything was different. But that's not how it works. Every major platform shift, PCs, the internet, mobile streaming, has been a journey, not a moment. And the journey is always longer than the predictions suggest. Early in 2025, you could use AI to help you code. I tried it, but it was still a slog. You had to fight the tools, you had to babysit the AI through confusion. The barrier to entry was still high enough that you had to be serious about what you were building. But late in 2025, the models got better. They held context longer, the agentic patterns matured, and suddenly building software became accessible to people who had never written a line of code in their lives, maybe like me. Today, 41% of all code is AI generated. 92% of developers in the US use AI tools every single day. Lovable, one of these online code platforms, went from 2 million to 8 million users and hit $100 million in annual revenue. This is big business. And here's the thing, the people succeeding at vibe coding aren't necessarily developers. They're marketers who built content tools, consultants who automated their analysis, designers who created apps for their clients. They're storytelling consultants like me. The valuable skill isn't coding anymore, it's specification. Knowing what you want and being able to describe it clearly. Domain expertise is becoming more important, not less. So here's my observation. The exact same dynamic is playing out in strategy consulting. For decades, firms like McKinsey, BCG, and Deloitte have commanded premium pricing, $250,000 to over $1 million for major engagements. That puts sophisticated strategic analysis beyond the reach of 99% or more of businesses. Now, I want to be clear about something. The hot take is AI is going to kill McKinsey. I don't think that's right. If you look at every major technology transition, PCs didn't kill mainframes, e-commerce didn't kill retail, streaming didn't kill media, well, completely. What actually happened is that the pie got bigger. More people doing more things, more ways. What AI is going to do to strategy consulting isn't kill it. It's going to massively expand who can do the strategic work. The demand for good strategic thinking far exceeds its supply. It always has. AI doesn't eliminate that demand. It expands the capacity to meet it. McKinsey had layoffs in 2024 and 2025. One business professor at NC wrote a piece literally titled McKinsey in a Box, the End of Strategic Consulting. But I think the better frame is strategic capability is being democratized, just like software development was. Here's what I've been doing, and I want to share this because I think it's genuinely useful. I call it Bob strategy. No, not the Dr. Bob that works with me. Bob, B-O-B, which stands for Brief, Orchestrate, and Build. The idea is straightforward. Instead of spending 6 months and $500,000 on a consulting engagement, you spend a morning setting a framework, an afternoon running parallel AI research, and you walk out with a synthesized strategy document. The brief, you start with a structured template that guides AI without dictating the outcomes. It's not about asking AI to solve your problem. You don't jump into ChatGPT and say, build me a strategy. It's about creating a framework for thinking through the problem systematically. The template should open up the possibilities and not close them down. The second part is orchestrate. You meet with your team, discuss the problem space, and identify gaps and opportunities. Now, let me be clear here. You meet with your team. Again, I think strategy consulting using AI is very similar to doing it in a group, but you do need to meet with your team so you have all of those inputs. Then you feed that context into AI tools, but not just one query. You run multiple parallel research threads. One agent researches market trends, another pulls competitive intelligence, another validates assumptions against external data. And then finally, build. Within 15 to 20 minutes of parallel agent work, you have a synthesis document, customized to your specific needs, go-to-market strategy, investor pitch, brand positioning, whatever the challenge is. The result isn't a finished strategy. That would be overselling it. The result is a structured conversation starter, a document that sparks discussion, surfaces blind spots, and gives the team something concrete to build on. I put a detailed template and a step-by-step process guide on my Substack. That link's in the description, so you can actually try this yourself. Now, if you're a solo consultant or running a small team, here's my honest recommendation for how to actually do this. Learn Claude Code. Not Cursor, not Lovable, but Claude Code. Here's something ironic that most people miss. When the graphical interface came along, the mouse, Windows clicking on things, everyone assumed the command line was dead. I did too. It's legacy technology, but the command line didn't go away. It remained the underlying architecture of everything that came after it: the cloud, iPhone, Android, and now AI. Today, the most powerful way to interact with AI is through a command line interface, and that's Claude Code. It's built for people who want to orchestrate, who want to set a direction and let AI handle the direction. And it has something called skills. Basically, these are just reusable templates that allow you to rerun common tasks. You can have a skill that runs a competitive analysis, a skill that generates a SWOT, a skill that synthesizes research from multiple sources. Once you build these once, you can reuse them forever. The learning curve is maybe a weekend, and if you're doing any kind of knowledge work, consulting, analysis, research strategy, that weekend investment will pay dividends forever. It will forever change how you do consulting. And I think one of the valuable skills that consultants and small business CEOs should consider developing is basic fluency with Claude Code. It's the difference between being able to drive a car versus being stuck calling Ubers. Both get you places, but one gives you a lot more control and a lot more safety. I've got a starter skill template on my Substack that you can literally copy and paste to get you started. Now, I'd be doing you a disservice if I made this sound completely easy. There are a few real pitfalls, and I want to be honest about that. Pitfall number one, the 70% problem. AI will get you 70% of the way there really fast. The last 30%, the nuance, the judgment, the edge cases, that's still human work. If you accept AI output without critical review, you're going to make mistakes, sometimes embarrassing ones. The fix is always review AI output with skepticism. Use it as input to your thinking, not a replacement for your thinking. Pitfall number two, discipline collapse. The hardest part of Vibe strategy isn't the AI. It's getting people together for that morning session. It's doing the upfront work of defining the problem clearly, the storytelling, understanding the problem. It's having the discipline to follow the process. When you can generate answers instantly, there's a temptation to skip the brief and just start prompting. Don't do that. The brief is what makes this output useful. And then finally, pitfall three, rabbit holes. AI can go deep on anything. You can spend 4 hours researching some tangential market trend that doesn't actually matter to your strategy. The research feels productive. It's not. The fix is set time limits, set a scope limit. If a research direction isn't answering one of your key questions, then just cut it. I'm going to add one more. I'm going to call it pitfall number 4, the timeline illusion. Don't expect this to transform your entire operation overnight. Remember what I said. Technology transitions are journeys, not moments. You're learning a new skill here. It takes practice. The first time you do this, it will be messy. The 5th time, you'll be fast. The 20th time, you'll wonder how you ever did strategy consulting any other way. So here's where I land on this. The opportunity, strategic thinking is no longer gated behind expensive consultants. If you have the discipline to gather people together, the skill to articulate the problem and learn the storytelling clearly, and the willingness to iterate, you can produce a strategic analysis that would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars just a few years ago. Solo founders, small teams, mid-sized companies that could never afford McKinsey, this is now accessible to you. And here's the thing. There's going to be more demand for strategic work, not less. As AI tools get more sophisticated, domain expertise becomes more valuable. Every industry is getting more complex, not simpler. The people who understand their domain deeply and can leverage these tools, they're going to be incredibly valuable. The risk, just like vibe coding can produce garbage software if you don't know what you're doing, vibe strategy can produce garbage strategy. AI amplifies capability, including the capability to confidently produce nonsense. You still need judgment. You still need to validate. You still need humans in the loop. The call to action, try it. Before you hire a consulting firm for your next strategic challenge, try running one vibe strategy session. Gather your team for a morning, use the framework I've shared, and see what comes out. You might be surprised how far you get in a half a day. And if it doesn't work, all you lost was a morning, not $300,000 in 6 months of work. Strategy development should be iterative, just like software development has become. You develop strategies that might fail, you'll learn from them. You iterate. The barrier to trying things has dropped dramatically, so you might as well take advantage of that. If you're not experimenting with AI-assisted strategy development, I think you're leaving a massive advantage on the table. All right, that's the video. I put the full template, the process guide, and the Claude Code skill starter on my Substack. Link in the description. Subscribe if you want more of this kind of thing. Thanks for watching.